The world of X-Men is full of mutant superheroes and supervillains with crazy superpowers that you might never want to face in any circumstance. These mightiest beings also have some weaknesses and vulnerabilities that can be used to defeat them in a fight. But what if you're so powerful that it's impossible to defeat you in a fight, even by your own fellow mutants? One such massive and powerful being is Juggernaut, who's physically immune to almost every mutant power because of his superhuman strength and resilience. So today, join me in this video where I will be telling you everything about Juggernaut and his powers, appearances in the original X-Men animated series, and the weaknesses that make him a powerful being in the world of X-Men. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Origin of Juggernaut. Unlike other characters in the X-Men, Juggernaut, aka Cain Marko, was not born with his superhuman strength. He was born as a normal human being and a stepbrother to one of the greatest mutants on the planet, Professor Charles Xavier. Marko's father, Kurt Marko, married Xavier's mother, Sharon Xavier, for her wealth, but Cain never developed or accepted Charles as his brother. He even went on to bully him throughout their childhood for being a mutie. Later in the comics, Charles becomes a powerful mutant and chooses the path of goodness, whereas Cain chooses the darker path, making himself one of the most terrifying villains in the comics. Though he was born as a human without any superhuman strength or powers, he gained all his strength from a temple of Sidorak. While during his stint in Japan as a cadet, during one of his adventures he excavated a hidden temple in the forest, where he accidentally got a huge ruby known as the Crimson Gem of Sidorak. This powerful gem gave him all the powers he ever wanted in his lifetime.
I'm gonna make you pay for this, Charles!
How powerful is Juggernaut? The magical gem transformed him into one of Earth's mightiest forces, which can never be defeated physically by anyone on Earth. He's so strong that he can literally pick up buildings and even mountains as weapons. He's also capable of creating a magical force field that is even powerful enough to withstand the force of Mjolnir. You might think he might need a lot of carbs in his diet, but due to his cosmic power, he can survive without food, water, or even air. His rapid healing capacity also makes him better by healing his wounds immediately. But this is just the beginning for Juggernaut. When he achieves his full strength from the gem, he can be the most powerful person on Earth by increasing his powers, absorbing and projecting energy fields, levitating himself, and creating portals through the universe. Imagine being so powerful that no power can destroy or defeat you under any circumstance. But this massive creature is scared of one thing in the entire universe, and that is psychic attacks. Being the stepbrother of one of the most powerful psychics in the world, Juggernaut knew what he was capable of, so he protected his head with a metal helmet that protected him from Professor X.
What the?
X-Men the Animated Series. The Unstoppable Juggernaut. The episode starts with Cyclops getting a signal from Professor X and reaching the mansion. But to their surprise, the mansion has been destroyed to the ground. Concerned about the well-being of the professor, the team starts searching for him under the ruins of the mansion. Jean Grey uses her psychic powers to contact the professor, but nothing's working in their favor. In the meantime, Cyclops finds a message from Charles on the Cerebro, which shows the team the pre-recorded message from the professor not to worry about him, because he's on a quest that might change the mutant lives forever. This assures everyone that he made it out of the mansion in the nick of time and is safe. While searching for clues about the incident, Wolverine finds a pair of huge footprints on the ground, and goes on to find the culprit alone, as he always does. However, as the leader, Cyclops sends Storm, Rogue, and Wolverine's sidekick, Jubilee, to go after him if he needs help during his quest. They find Wolverine's Jeep along the way, and step down to find him, but they meet a Russian mutant named Colossus breaking down a huge building on his own. Wolverine and Jubilee attack him, assuming he's the one who destroyed their mansion. Colossus has no clue why these mutants, whom he thinks are crazy Americans, are attacking him without any reason, but he tosses them around, trying to ask them why. Wolverine, using his super sense, is able to find out that Colossus is actually an innocent man, who was helping the construction workers to destroy the building, and isn't the one who destroyed the X-Mansion. But the police somehow land their hands on Colossus and arrest him. When Storm and Rogue learn about his innocence, they storm into the jail to rescue Colossus using their superpowers. Meanwhile, Wolverine and Jubilee get their hands on the real culprit, the Juggernaut. While he's robbing a bank, he manages to fight with every mutant that arrived there to fight with him, including Rogue and Colossus. However, Jean Grey was able to give him temporary amnesia, and they successfully removed his helmet.
The name's Juggernaut, dear brother.
The Dark Shroud. In the Phoenix Saga Part 2, the team gets into an accident while returning into Earth's atmosphere, which severely injures Jean Grey. While she's in the hospital getting her treatment, Professor X gets into an accident as well, and projects his astral form, which actually works as the dark side of the Professor, and starts tormenting all the superheroes by attacking them. This dark side of the Professor is exactly the opposite of Xavier, who follows the path of good and tries to save humanity. When Charles Xavier's astral self goes to attack Jean Grey in the hospital, she manages to find the body of Charles, injured inside an aircraft. After the team is rescued, Charles appoints Cyclops as the team leader, and leaves for an unknown destination until he gains control over his subconscious. During his stay on Muir Island in Scotland, looking for answers, Charles again comes into contact with the cosmic force. But this time, upon touching the force, a spacewalker appears in front of him, revealing her identity as Lilandra, the Princess of Shi'ar, an alien planet far away from Earth, where her brother Deacon is the emperor of the planet. But due to his hunger for power, using their ancient and most powerful stone, the Macran crystal, she betrays him and wants to help Charles. But suddenly, Juggernaut breaks into his brother's facility and captures Lilandra. But he's not the only one there to disrupt the meeting of Charles and Lilandra. Black Tom and another spacewalker are also there to snatch the cosmic gem from the princess. Charles uses his power of telekinesis to tackle them, but due to Juggernaut's helmet, he was unable to harm them. Juggernaut picks up his helpless brother and throws him from the cliff of the island. Moira and Banshee, who have been living on the island as a loving couple, hear Charles scream and save him from the fall. When Banshee took him inside the building, he kept talking about the incident that just happened, but to their surprise, Moira and Banshee didn't find anyone inside. Concerned about Charles' health, Moira and Banshee try to help Charles, but he kept urging them to find the cosmic princess. Back in the hospital, the team is concerned about the well-being of Jean as she starts projecting the power of Phoenix Force all over again. Wolverine takes the rest of the team with him to meet Professor X on Muir Island, while Cyclops and Storm watch over Jean. Far from the reach of men, inside a castle, the villainous trio of Juggernaut, Black Tom, and Eric the Red, who's a spy from Shi'ar, tortures Lilandra to get the cosmic stone. Using her psychic abilities, Lilandra manages to contact Charles, asking him to save her. Charles sends the team to save his love. Yes, he admitted being in love with Lilandra while speaking to Moira about it. The X-Men arrive at the castle with the help of Banshee, and start fighting the villains. The team fails to save Lilandra from the hands of Juggernaut, and the trio of villains takes her to offer her to a senior official from Shi'ar named Gladiator. Lilandra begs him not to surrender the gem to the hands of the Mad Emperor, like his brother, who can destroy the entire planet with the help of the Macron crystal. Being an obedient protector to the throne of Shi'ar, he doesn't have any other choice but offering the Macron crystal to his emperor. When Juggernaut tries to fight with Gladiator for being a talker, Gladiator picks him up and throws him far from the castle, as if he were merely a pebble in front of his power. This is one of the rare moments in the history of Juggernaut where someone defeated him so easily. But in the meantime, Jean arrives at the castle, using her Phoenix Force, and banishes Gladiator from the atmosphere of Earth.
I'm not gonna fall for stupid carnival tricks!
The Juggernaut returns. A hyperactive Juggernaut starts creating chaos on the streets of New York City. He plays around with the vehicles on the Brooklyn Bridge, till he hops into a cab and passes through the gates of the Xavier Mansion. Seeing him coming through the gates, Professor Xavier tries to stop him using various equipment, but he can't control his magical powers. He even used Cerebro to project Hulk to fight with his stepbrother, but Juggernaut's hatred for Charles won't allow him to be contained inside Cerebro, and he starts destroying it. But far in the jungles of Japan, a man finds the gem of Sidorak during an excavation in search of unlimited power. I should remind you that this is the exact same stone that gave Juggernaut his incredible strength. While Juggernaut is destroying Charles' Cerebro, this young guy follows the instructions and gains all the powers. This incident turns the tables, and Juggernaut loses all his superhuman abilities to the young guy. Charles insists that the X-Men save his stepbrother by getting inside his brain using his psychic powers. The young guy goes out to the city and starts using his newfound powers to gain popularity among girls, which turned out to be a disappointment because even though he had the body, he still had no riz to impress those pretty girls. In the Xavier Mansion, Charles enters into his stepbrother's brain to seek the answers to his treatment, but to his surprise, Charles only encounters the hatred his brother has for him throughout their childhood. In their childhood, Charles and Marco grew up together in their family home, after Charles' mom married Marco's dad. Since their childhood, Marco hated Charles for being a mutant. Furious that his sons are bullying his dad, Kurt sends Marco away from home to a boarding school as punishment for his actions, though Kurt always took Charles' side in fear of their fate on the family property. When Charles started developing his mutant powers, Kurt even labeled them as imaginary stories and shut him down, trying to keep him away from his true potential. When Marco comes back from boarding school, Charles unknowingly reads his thoughts, which makes Marco angry. He again bullies Charles by picking on him with his friends, calling Charles a mutie. Getting to relive all these painful memories all over again, Charles storms out of the room and wants some peace to himself. But Storm comes in to talk to him, and asks him to save his brother. Even though Charles is furious with his brother and his perspective on him, he again enters into Marco's brain. Then he confronts his brother by telling him that he can save his life by restoring him to life again. Though Marco denies Charles' proposal from the beginning, he later agrees to take his brother's help. He still gives him the warning that he will always be his nightmare throughout their life. Charles knows exactly what he really means, because being his big brother, he has a soft corner for Marco, and that's why he's there to show his brotherly love by saving him from his misery and helping him regain his powers. Marco recites the inscriptions again, which gives him the power from the gem. He then gets back his powers all over again, but he deliberately crushes the gem, throws it out of Earth so that nobody could ever lay their hands on the stone ever again, and leaves the mansion for good.
No? Try wading through this.
Spider-Man and his amazing friends. In this animated series, Spider-Man is seen fighting different villains, along with the help of Iceman and Firestar. In one of the episodes, while both of his friends are away from the city after they received a call from the X-Men leader Professor X to join the prestigious X-Men. While his friends are away from the city, Spider-Man finds himself fighting one of the powerful forces on Earth, Juggernaut. Spider-Man tries his best to defeat Juggernaut with his tricks, because he quickly understood the fact his physical powers are not enough to tackle the beast of a Juggernaut. Spidey even tries to freeze Juggernaut with the help of cement, but unfortunately, he uses his magical powers and comes out of it like a champ. Then he badly injures Spider-Man by throwing a building on him and goes to find his brother Professor X. Back in Xavier's mansion, while all the superheroes were having a moment of joy, Juggernaut breaks into the facility without any notice. Seeing him breaking through the walls of the mansion, the team starts fighting with him. Storm uses her powerful lightning on Juggernaut. Iceman creates a huge wall of ice. Cyclops builds a deep tunnel, and Firestar uses her flames to disrupt his plans. But nothing could stop this giant from fulfilling his plans to kill his brother Charles. Suddenly, Spider-Man appears from nowhere and saves the Professor from Juggernaut. The Professor instructs everyone that they have to remove the helmet of Juggernaut to stop him from causing more trouble. Iceman freezes Juggernaut with his powers, and Spider-Man forcefully removes his helmet from his head. Juggernaut thinks he can still outrun everyone even without his helmet. Professor X uses his psychic powers to paralyze the Juggernaut and stops the giant from causing any more mayhem. In Wolverine and the X-Men, Juggernaut appears while the X-Men are fighting with Magneto's rebel group Acolytes in episode 13. In this storyline, the powerful Magneto has created a country of his own named Genosha, where he's been living peacefully with his mutant followers. But his hunger for power doesn't stop him from gathering more mutants to his side. He tries to recruit more powerful and dangerous mutants to his side by brainwashing them and showing them a possible safe haven for the mutants. He attacks the city and destroys it with the help of his mutant teammates. In the middle of the fight, the X-Men team finds an object coming toward them from the sky. Though initially they thought it was a weapon, they realize soon that it's none other than the unstoppable Juggernaut, who's been severely injured. But who could do such a thing to this powerful being? It was Hisako Ichiki, a small kid with the power to create an exoskeleton of any shape and size that's powerful enough to destroy the entire city. But when Rogue enters into the exoskeleton to get close to the girl using her absorption power, she finds out that she's not willfully destroying the city, but is being controlled by Magneto to act as a weapon for the destruction of the city. Juggernaut appears again in episode 20 during a fight in the beginning of the episode. Cyclops is heartbroken from the disappearance of Jean and goes out in search of her alone, but he gets attacked by Juggernaut in the city, and a huge fight breaks out between them. Though it was Wolverine who advised Cyclops to go out and find Jean on his own, he kept track of him and reaches him with the team to help Cyclops. The team, consisting of Nightcrawler, Iceman, and Emma Frost, fights with the Juggernaut but fails to defeat him, and they had to run away from that place in their aircraft. X-Men Evolution. In Season 1 of the series, a prison Juggernaut is approached by Mystique, who offers him his helmet in return for Cerebro. Juggernaut takes his helmet from the hands of Mystique and kicks her off, saying, "Nobody takes him anywhere or gets in his way," and leaves for the Xavier mansion to take revenge on his half-brother Charles Xavier. Many powerful mutants, including Storm and Wolverine, try to stop him from getting into the mansion, but he successfully manages to sneak into the facility and damages Cerebro. He gets so furiously strong that not even the powers of Jean Grey and Professor Xavier could stop him from destroying his mansion. But with teamwork, Quicksilver, Rogue, and Shadowcat manage to hold him in control, and Toad uses his tongue to remove Juggernaut's helmet. Seeing this, Professor Xavier uses his psychic powers to control him and sends him back to jail. In later seasons, Juggernaut appears as a prisoner in a special cell, designed to keep the powerful evil mutants. He even made an appearance during a battle fighting with the X-Men after Mystique starts a fight by sabotaging the stasis tanks in the prison. In this battle, he fights once more with Cyclops and Nightcrawler. After a tough fight, Nightcrawler teleports him to Rogue, who uses her ability to absorb powers on Juggernaut. After gaining the powers of Juggernaut, she picks him up and throws him off the cliff.
Who are those people?
Pride of the X-Men. Juggernaut makes his appearance in the pilot episode as a member of the Brother of Evil Mutants, and a wingman of Magneto. They attack Xavier Mansion while the team of X-Men are away. They sneak into the mansion and destroy the defense mechanism of the facility. Then Juggernaut again gets into a fight with Colossus and Nightcrawler during the battle of X-Men against the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. Marvelous verdict. In this 1993 original X-Men series, Juggernaut isn't a central character and appears as a minor character in only 3 episodes, but still he gets to seamlessly showcase his implacable presence in the series. His unparalleled power and strength, powered by the Crimson Gem, turned him into an unstoppable force in the X-Men and the whole Marvel Universe. His fights with Spider-Man, Thor, and Hulk are still considered legendary among the comic fans. His core hatred for Charles since their childhood polluted Juggernaut's brain to such an extent that he turns himself to the path of darkness forever. Juggernaut also appeared in the movies X-Men: The Last Stand and Deadpool 2 as a minor character. Unlike the comic character, the Juggernaut in Deadpool 2 seems to be an empathetic and morally explicit person, who, even after being a criminal, has some sense of morals for himself. So what are you going to do if you get the power from some magical gem lying around in the forest? Are you going to use it to save the world, or will you go Juggernaut on people with full force? Let us know in the comments section, and don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. That's it for today. We'll be back with more interesting topics for you again.